My husband left me alone in the rain to teach me a lesson. 7 years later, he learned one he could never undo. The rain did not fall gently that night. It came down hard, sharp, like it was angry too. Cold drops at my face, my hair, my clothes. Within seconds, everything I wore was soaked. The thin fabric of my dress clung to my skin, heavy and uncomfortable. My shoes filled with water as I stood on the side of the road, under a weak yellow streetlight that flickered again and again, as if it might give up on me too. My hands were shaking, not just from the cold, but from what had just happened. My husband's car lights were already far away, turning into small red dots before disappearing completely. 5 minutes earlier, he had been right in front of me. We were arguing in the car. His voice was calm, but sharp. Controlled. That kind of calm that scares you more than shouting. "You always talk back," he said, gripping the steering wheel. "You think you know everything." "I was just asking a question," I replied, my voice already tired. "Why do you get so angry over small things?" That was when he stopped the car. Right there. On an empty road. Rain pouring down. No houses nearby. No people. Just darkness and noise from the storm. "Get out," he said. I stared at him, confused. "What?" "Get out," he repeated, louder this time. "You need to learn respect." I laughed nervously, thinking he was joking. He wasn't. When I didn't move, he opened my door himself. "Stand there," he said, pointing at the road. "Think about what you did." I stepped out slowly, my heart beating fast. Before I could say another word, he closed the door and drove away. No goodbye. No looking back. Just the sound of tires moving through water, and then silence. Now, years later, that same rain sound still lived inside me. 7 years passed, but some nights never leave you. The hotel lights were warm and golden. Soft music played somewhere inside. People laughed quietly, walking in and out, protected from the weather. The rain that evening was light, almost gentle, nothing like that night, but my body still remembered. I stepped out of a black car. The door closed behind me with a soft click. The driver did not speak. He didn't need to. He stood a few steps away, respectful, alert. I pulled my coat tighter around myself and took a slow breath. The smell of wet pavement mixed with perfume and fresh air. Everything felt calm. Too calm. That was when I saw him. He stood near the hotel entrance, holding his phone, his shoulders slightly hunched. His hair was thinner now, his face more tired. But the posture, the confidence mixed with control, was the same. For a moment, he didn't see me. I watched him like a stranger, like someone watching an old photograph come to life. Then he looked up. Our eyes met. The color drained from his face slowly, as if time itself paused to let the moment sink in. "Zara," he said quietly, almost afraid. Hearing my name in his voice did something to my chest. A tight pain spread, sharp but familiar. I hadn't heard him say my name in 7 years. "Yes," I said. Just one word. We stood there, the space between us filled with memories that neither of us spoke aloud. Cars passed behind me. The hotel door opened and closed. Life continued, but for us, everything felt frozen. You're here?" he asked. "So are you," I replied. My voice surprised even me. It was steady, calm, not angry, not broken. He looked me up and down, trying to understand, trying to place the woman standing in front of him with the girl he left in the rain. "You look different," he said finally. I almost smiled. "So do you." The rain began again, soft drops tapping against the pavement. He glanced up at the sky, then back at me, as if something uncomfortable was pressing on his mind. "I didn't expect to see you," he said. "I thought you left this place long ago." "I did," I answered. "But life brings people back," he said, forcing a small laugh. I didn't laugh with him. 7 years ago, I left without telling anyone where I was going. No calls. No messages. I disappeared because staying would have destroyed me. That night in the rain wasn't just about being cold or scared. It was about learning how small he thought I was. How easy it was for him to punish me. I remembered standing under that streetlight, hugging myself, crying so hard I couldn't breathe. I remembered calling his phone again and again until the battery died. I remembered thinking, This is not love. This is control. Looking at him now, I felt something strange. Not anger. Not sadness. Distance. You look well, he said carefully. I am, I replied. He nodded slowly, as if trying to accept that answer. His eyes searched my face, looking for signs, pain, regret, weakness. He didn't find them. You came alone, he asked. Yes. Another pause. 7 years ago, he used to ask that question with pride. Like ownership. Now, it sounded unsure. I shifted my weight slightly, the sound of my heels soft against the ground. The rain touched my coat, but I did not feel cold. Not anymore. The girl who stood crying in the rain all those years ago was gone. And he could feel it. Something had changed. He just didn't know what. Not yet. The rain kept falling softly, like it was listening to us. He shifted his weight, clearing his throat, as if he didn't know where to begin. I could see it in his eyes. This meeting was not part of his plan. Life rarely asks permission before bringing the past back. So, how have you been? He asked. It was a small question, but it carried years inside it. I've been living, I said. He nodded slowly, as if that answer meant more than it should. His fingers tapped against his phone, a habit he always had when he felt uncomfortable. I remembered how he used to do that during arguments, pretending to stay calm while deciding what to say next. You disappeared, he said after a moment. No one heard from you. I thought maybe you didn't want to be found. I looked at him then. Really looked. I didn't, I said. I just didn't want to be heard anymore. The words hung between us. His jaw tightened. That night, he began, then stopped. I didn't help him finish. I let him sit with it. Cars passed by, their headlights cutting through the rain. A couple walked past us, laughing under one umbrella. I wondered if they knew how lucky they were, to be dry, together, safe. I didn't mean for it to go that far, he said quietly. You know how angry you made me. There it was. The same excuse, wrapped in a softer voice. You always say that, I replied. He frowned slightly. Say what? That I make you angry, I said. That I force you to do things. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. I never hit you, he said quickly, like he needed to defend himself. I never cheated. I worked. I provided. I wasn't a bad husband. I felt a slow ache in my chest. You left me alone in the rain, I said calmly. At night. On an empty road. He looked away. I thought you'd call someone, he muttered. I thought you'd understand the lesson. That word again. Lesson. Flashbacks rushed through me without warning. My phone slipping from my wet hands. The battery blinking red. My legs hurting from standing too long. The fear every time a car slowed down. I remembered whispering to myself, please don't let anything happen to me. You never came back, I said. Not that night. Not the next day. He rubbed his face. I waited. For what? I asked. For you to apologize, he said. For you to admit you were wrong. I almost laughed, but it came out as a breath instead. That's what you wanted. I asked. An apology. Yes, he said firmly. That's how marriage works. I nodded slowly. Inside me, something settled. A quiet truth. Marriage, to him, had always been about control. Do you know what I learned that night? I asked. He looked at me, curious despite himself. I learned that love doesn't punish, I said. It doesn't abandon. And it doesn't enjoy fear. His eyes softened for a moment, but then he straightened his shoulders again, returning to the man he always was. You're stronger now, he said. I can see that. I had to be, I replied. The rain picked up slightly. I could smell the clean, wet air mixed with the faint scent of his cologne, one I remembered too well. Are you here for work? He asked, trying to change the direction. Yes. With someone? He asked quickly. No, I said. Something flickered across his face. Relief. Hope. You know, he said carefully, we were young back then. We both made mistakes. We. That word felt heavy. I made mistakes, he continued. But so did you. You pushed me. I looked at him steadily. Do you still believe that? I asked. He hesitated. I think we both could have done better. I saw it then, the truth he didn't want to say. He still didn't see anything wrong with what he did. The silence stretched. A small smile touched his lips, uncertain but familiar. If you ever want to talk, he said, really talk, maybe we can sit somewhere. Catch up. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. Instead, I felt calm. Too calm. Why? I asked. He blinked. Why what? Why do you want to catch up? I asked. Is it guilt? Curiosity? Or do you just miss being forgiven? He swallowed. I miss you, he said. The words landed, but they didn't break me. I don't miss you, I replied softly. That surprised him more than anger ever could. He stared at me, searching my face again. This time, his eyes slowed, focusing on details he hadn't noticed before. The confidence in my posture, the way I stood without shrinking, the way I didn't step back when he moved closer. You changed, he said quietly. Yes, I said. I had to. Another pause. The rain slowed again, almost stopping. He glanced behind me for a second, then back at me. You didn't come alone, he said suddenly. It wasn't a question. I didn't answer right away. Something in his tone shifted, not fear, but awareness. Like a man realizing he might not be standing where he thinks he is. Footsteps echoed behind us. Slow. Heavy. Steady. I felt it before I saw it, the presence. My husband turned slightly, his eyes narrowing. What's that? He asked. I met his gaze, calm and steady. That, I said quietly, is part of the life you never knew about. The footsteps grew closer, and for the first time since we started talking, he looked unsure. The footsteps behind me grew louder. Not rushed. Not unsure. Steady. Confident. Like someone who knew exactly where he was going. My husband turned fully this time. His body stiffened, his eyes following the sound. The rain had almost stopped now, leaving the air thick and quiet, as if the world itself was holding its breath. A tall man came into view. He wore a black suit that fit him perfectly, dark and simple. His posture was straight, alert, calm. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes missed nothing. He stopped a few steps behind me, close enough for me to feel his presence, far enough to give me space. My car is ready, he said. His voice was low and respectful. The word hung in the air like thunder. My husband stared at him, then at me, then back at him again. His mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out at first. He repeated, almost laughing, like he had misheard. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. Thank you, I said calmly. One moment. The man nodded and stepped back, standing still, watchful. The rain touched his shoulders, but he didn't move. My husband's face had changed. The confidence he carried earlier was gone now, replaced by confusion and something close to fear. Who is that? He asked. I finally looked at him. You don't recognize respect, I said. You never did. He frowned. Are you important now? He asked, his voice sharp, defensive. Is this some kind of act? I almost smiled. No, I said. This is just my life. He shook his head slightly, trying to laugh it off. A bodyguard. For you. Yes, I answered. He stared at me, trying to connect the pieces. The woman he left in the rain. The woman standing in front of him now. The space between those two versions of me felt too large for him to cross. You didn't need protection before, he said. That's because I didn't know I deserved it, I replied. His eyes darkened. So that's it, he said. You want to show me you're better now. I stepped closer to him, close enough for him to see that I wasn't angry, close enough for him to hear every word clearly. No, I said softly. I didn't come to show you anything. Then why are you here? He asked. I took a slow breath. The truth had been sitting in my chest for 7 years, heavy and quiet. I had carried it through fear, through loneliness, through rebuilding my life piece by piece. Now, it was time to let it breathe. That night, I said, when you left me in the rain. His jaw tightened. Don't start that again, he muttered. I was pregnant, I finished. The world stopped. He froze completely. His eyes widened, his face losing all color. For a second, he looked like he might fall. Don't lie, he said quickly. Too quickly. That's not funny. I'm not lying, I said. His breathing became uneven. You would have told me, he said. You would have said something. I tried, I replied. That night, I called you. Again and again. He looked away, pain flashing across his face before he could hide it. I thought you were just being dramatic, he whispered. I was scared, I said. And alone. Silence fell between us. You never came back, I continued. You never asked if I was okay. You never checked if I was alive. His voice shook. Why didn't you tell anyone? Because I was ashamed, I said. Because I blamed myself. Because I believed you when you said everything was my fault. He ran his hands through his hair, breathing hard. What happened? He asked. To the baby. I held his gaze. I lost you that night, I said. But I didn't lose my child. His eyes snapped back to mine. You're saying? Yes, I said. I had the baby. His lips parted, but no words came out. His knees bent slightly, like the truth had struck him physically. You have a child, he whispered. My child. I didn't answer that question directly. You don't get to claim something you abandoned, I said. Not after 7 years of silence. Tears filled his eyes now. Real ones. Uncontrolled. Why didn't you come back? He asked. I would have. You would have what? I interrupted gently. Controlled me more. Taught me more lessons. He flinched. I changed, he said desperately. I swear, I changed. I shook my head slowly. Change doesn't erase consequences, I said. And love doesn't arrive after the damage is done. He looked at the man standing behind me again. So, he's the father? He asked bitterly. No, I replied. He's the protector. I turned slightly and nodded. The bodyguard stepped forward and opened a black umbrella above my head. The rain no longer touched me. That simple action broke something in my husband. He stared at the umbrella, then at the wet ground beneath his own feet. I stood in the rain for hours, I said quietly. No one came. No one covered me. No one cared. I met his eyes one last time. Tonight, I said, you get to feel just a small part of that. I stepped back. I forgave you a long time ago, I continued. Not for you. For me. He shook his head. Please, he whispered. Just tell me their name. I paused. Then I said, you don't need to know. The bodyguard held the car door open for me. Warm light spilled out from inside, wrapping around me like safety. As I stepped in, I looked back once more. He was standing there alone, rain falling harder now, soaking his clothes, his hair, his face. People walked past him without stopping. Cars passed without slowing down. Just like that night. I closed the door. As the car pulled away, I watched him disappear into the rain, finally understanding the lesson he tried to teach, and the cost of teaching it too late.